Yeah, that's incredible. We don't think about over a long period of time, but that's the best way to look at how we affect people over a long period of time, and then to think that everybody who went to the school, everybody had to go to the school because there was only one school in the region, so everybody knew her. And it only clicked in my mind like a little while ago. I was like, my God, everybody knows her. They really know her. Wow. Wow. And then I did an interview with my mother, um, because I wanted to have some audio or visual record of her. It might sound a bit crazy, but like my grandparents died, and I never really met them, and I don't have anything. So I wanted to have this audio or visual record of speaking to my mother and talking about her life and things like that. And so I made this interview. It's like interview with my mother about her life and her experiences. And I I recorded it, and I thought it was really interesting because she talked a lot about teaching and her experiences of teaching, and and I put it on my YouTube channel, and she was really angry with me. What if somebody listens to it? It's like you're worried about somebody listening to you talking about your life when when you are responsible for 10,000 people over 35 years, and you don't even know where these people are or what they're doing now, and you're worried that somebody might listen to you talk about your life. What is that? I don't know. Old people get a bit crazy sometimes. It's like somebody might listen to it. Well, first of all, you should be happy if someone listens to it, because that means they're interested in your life, right? It doesn't. Secondly, why would anybody want to, right? I just put it on the internet so I don't lose it. I put it on my YouTube page because you know what data and information is like. Yeah, it's in some file on the computer, and eventually computers become old. And what do you do with all the data and all the information? And so I thought as long as I put it somewhere on my YouTube page, I know that I won't lose it. And why would anybody want to listen to you talk about your life, mother, except for me, right? I mean, um, and she was worried about it. Oh no, you're gonna just relax, relax. I'm not gonna tell anybody, and no one's gonna listen to it. No one wants to listen to you talk for 3 hours about going to about what you did at university. I don't know. Sorry, but nobody wants to hear that. Only me, cause I'd like to have that little bit of history about things that I don't know. Um, Things that people should do in their life. It's crazy, but I think everyone should interview their parents because we all think we know, but I guarantee you, there's more you don't know than what you do know about your mom and your dad, right? And it's the same about everybody who's close to us. We don't really know that much information. Um, like it, people have this idea like mom and dad were always together. It's like, well, no, there was a period of time in their lives before they met. things things happened before that, but they never talk about it. Right? They they they, they never talk about it. Like I was with some friends the other week, and I was talking about I was talking about a girlfriend I had before my present partner. And somebody said, "Oh, you can't talk about that." What do you mean I can't talk about? What do I just pretend it never existed? I pretend she never existed. I pretend that nothing ever happened in my life before that. That's so crazy. That's so crazy. Oh yeah, but what about your kids? Well, I kind of want my kids to know like everything, or at least as much as I can realistically tell them. So I don't see any point. I don't see any problem with that. And so people are worried about the strangest things. They really are. So um, uh, I think we all forget that there was something before our parents got together, because parents never talk about that period of time in their life. And I is my challenge to the world. My challenge to the world is that I think that everyone should sit down and interview their parents about their lives when they were young and their experiences. Um, because we never do it and we never talk about it, but there's so much interesting stuff. Yeah, people always talk about now. They always talk about what is happening now. And a number of reasons for this. Number one, nobody can really remember what happened last week. Never mind last month, last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It's all dead information. It's important, but we don't focus on it. Yeah, well, something that came out of the conversation with my mother was I was asking her about we were talking a lot about her work and why she did certain jobs and her career and what she learned and um, at one point she said, "Well, I left that job." I said, "Well, why did you leave that job? You liked that job." And she said, "Well, things happened." I was like, "What? Come on! What's the little thing that you're not telling me here?" Which, anything that you don't say suddenly becomes a big thing in my head because I don't know what it is, and I'm interested because it could be interesting. I just don't know. And she said, "Well, I had a broken heart." And I was, what? I'm like, whoa, just tell me what, tell me more. It's like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, come on, mother, that happened like 50 years ago, right? Yeah, and you don't want to talk about it. Oh my god, oh my god, did you just? It's time. It's time to open up, right? It's kind of time to open up after that after that length of time. It's time to talk a little bit about this stuff, right? Wow. And and because nothing happens in isolation. Everything is connected to everything, right? And so she took this job in this place because of a partner she had at the time, but then that relationship didn't work anymore, and so she wanted to leave the job and she was really unhappy. So as a result of these series of events, she went to New Zealand from Scotland. She went to New Zealand. Right. Now, if you think about this geographically, you imagine a picture of the world, right? Scotland's over here on one side of the globe, and if you kind of take a line through the center of the earth, right? You kind of come to New Zealand, right, on the other side. Yeah. You can't get further away. Because if you go any further away, you're actually you're getting closer to home if you go any further. It's like, wow, you were you were trying to get as far away from where you were as possible. I mean, you actually physically did. You physically got as far away from where you were as possible without leaving the planet. You would actually have to leave the planet to, to get any further away. You have to get in a spaceship and go out there somewhere. And uh, and 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 so all these little things came out of the discussion, which I never realized because it was just, oh, mother mother went to New Zealand. There's a story. Yes, a story. Oh, and then I went to New Zealand. Yeah, but there must be more to it. And as I went into the story more and discovered more about what happened before, it's like, wow, wow. I begin to have a completely new picture of history because I asked these questions and asked her to explain, and then she got married in New Zealand and came back to Scotland with a husband who was my father, right? And it's like, whoa, this is some crazy stuff, crazy stuff that happened. Um, so it's really worth exploring that area of history. I think now that we have a way of doing it quite simply and quite easily. And it was quite simple. I sat down with my mother over Skype, and we Skyped, and I recorded the conversation, and that was it. Um, but it's like I said, it's interesting understanding that there's much more that we don't know about our families than what we do know, and I usually we discover interesting things, and sometimes things that maybe we shouldn't discover as well at the same time. But each piece of information is a piece of the puzzle. It doesn't matter if it's good information or bad information. It's just a piece of information for the puzzle to, oh, okay. Now I understand. Now I understand. Oh, okay, that's why. That's who that is. Oh, that's why they're. Okay, so. Like, she's not actually her daughter. Okay. Whoa! Whoa! This is crazy. This is crazy. Yeah. And just as a final point, if there's somebody in this in the picture or someone in the situation who it's like, well, they're crazy. You look at where they came from, and where they came from was crazy, right? That's why they're crazy, because where they came from was crazy. They're not crazy just because. They're crazy because they grew up in a really wild environment with a lot of things happening. Actually, I even did this with my partner. We did a little bit of exploring her family's history. Like I was asking my partner, okay, so what's your mother's history, right? Because her mother and father are divorced. Ah, like 50% of society, right? Yes. I promise to spend the rest of my life with you. Except for when I decide not to, and we get divorced. Uh, right. Thanks. Um, so, so I, and I was, and we explored this only about a year ago. So after being together for a long time. And I thought, yeah, I need to know a bit more information here. Why did this happen? Why is this like this? Why is that like that? And she started to tell me these stories, and I was like, what? So that's not her family, and that's not her mother, and these people don't like each other because of, whoa. Whoa. What did I what did I become part of? I've married into the Adams family. Yeah. So, I'm not serious that I married into the Adams family, but you get the idea of the things, right? Yeah, because when you meet someone, it's like you want to be with them. You don't want to be with them and their mother or them and their father, because you want to be with them. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Anyway, and then you discover that you don't marry a person. You actually marry a family. Because you are with the person. But when you get married, you actually marry a whole family. And that's like, whoa. Whoa. Can I just cut out you and keep you here and just put everyone else in the background? No? Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. I get them all! Yeah! I won the lottery. Sort of. So the language that you're talking about is the language of strong possibility in a relationship with advice. What you said was, we should win. We should win. So, is that information about the past, the present, or the future? Right. It is the future that you are talking about. We could also use it for a present situation, but you want to use it for a future situation. This is because the 8 basic modals don't have future structures. The present is also the future in that situation. I may go, present and future. Present or future. And it's the same for I might go, I must go. We could go. We should go. We would go. We ought to go. We can go. So they don't have independent. No, it should be dependent, really, shouldn't it? They don't have dependent future structures. The present is also the future. That's what makes modals different from the other groups, the full normal verbs and the verb be. So the problem is that you wanted to express an idea about your game, your match in the past. So how do we turn the statement we should win into a past structure? Well, here's what we do. We keep the beginning of the phrase, we should. But we take the infinitive verb, win, and we divide it into 2 parts. And we already know that we can reference the past in English using a perfect structure, because the perfect structure means before. The word perfect in grammar means before. Present perfect before the present. Past perfect before the past. future perfect before a time in the future. So we have this structure, something I have done refers to before now. So we have this structure using have and a past participle that means before. So we can add that here. We should have, and win, the past participle of win 1 is won. So we create we should have won. We should have won. Should plus the infinitive plus the past participle. It's not the present perfect, because if we use he, she, or it, we do not use has. Should is a modal. Modals are, with the exception of ought, all followed directly by infinitives. So we should have won. We should have won. Have plus the past participle is called the perfect infinitive. It has a name. It's called the perfect infinitive. Not really that important to know the name, but it has a name. The perfect infinitive. And it expresses an idea in the past. So this is how we turn we should win as a reference to possibly the present, but in your situation the future, into we should have won, a reference to the past. And with the perfect infinitive, it suggests that the activity was not completed or was unsuccessful. We should have won, but we didn't win. We lost. And if you want to take it just that little bit further, basically we use should to express this idea, but we can also use ought to as well. We can take out should from the structure and phrases and put in ought to. Present future, we ought to win. And in the past, we ought to have won. We ought to have won. Hopefully you can see from the structure written down that sometimes at the structural level, English is very much like mathematics. You can use formulas to create the structures that you need. Of course, at higher levels, the language becomes, I think, more flexible, maybe slightly less transparent, maybe more emotional. But we're not going to worry about that here today. So I hope that that answers the question for you. Thanks.